Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 9:30 to 12 a.m. midnight Turtle Dust live stream. We are coming to you live from TikTok, Behance, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn even. So if you are on those feeds, welcome. Right now I've got some great folks chatting with me here on TikTok, talking about art exchange. Hey, King Sykes, I see that you're potentially available to jump into a live together. You're welcome to join live. Just let me know. Where do I get my inspiration? My inspiration comes from all of the crazy story ideas that have been sitting in my head for I don't know how many years, way too many. So my inspiration is multifaceted: animation, movies, film, music, television, other artists who I find online. In this day and age, and you name it, my inspiration comes from a number of different places. I'd say the things that inspired my current project, which is From a Distance, is my passion for aeronautics and flight and space flight. Like I said, I was in the Air Force I didn't make it for very long, about a year and a half. And I just love seeing the planes come in and out. And I've always wanted to fly or go to space. And so because I couldn't, it's expensive to become a pilot and time consuming, I decided I'd do a comic about going to space. And that was the next best thing. For me, when it came to thanks King Sykes for the likes. When it came to art was always a means for me to engage with things that were beyond my reach. So toys when I was younger, certain hobbies, certain activities. If I couldn't do it in real life, my imagination via drawing and painting was a way to go. And so, yeah, inspiration, it's comes from everywhere. How about your inspirations? Everybody drop in the chat, let me know what your inspirations are, what inspires you to do the work that you do. If you could do that inspirational thing all day, what would it be? For me, it would be getting these stories out of my head and onto the page. So, once again, welcome to the Turtle Dust Media live stream. We are going to be working in three main parts over the next 3 hours. We're going to go 2.5 hours, 9:30 until midnight. Part 1 is going to be a short intro that you're in now. Then we're going to move on to talking a little bit about Black animated news. I, as a African American man and a avid fan of the animation field, want to highlight and bring to light animation that maybe has fallen off the radar, specifically from the Black and Afro diaspora. Last night we talked about a show called Big Blue, premiering on CBC December 4th, produced by Gima Gariba. And tonight we're going to be talking about a animated short that was funded on Kickstarter called Pretty, and the inspirational directors behind it, and it's very, I think, outside of the box story, and how it's becoming more common to see independent projects like this help break the current mold. After that, I'll talk a little bit about where we are with From a Distance, give some updates, and then we'll do some drawing. I might finish my rogue picture that I started last night, or I may even do a little bit of illustration from a Distance. Mixed in with all of that, before we go into the free draw, we're going to do a drawing tutorial on how to use Fresco to fill and potentially ink a illustration. Adobe Fresco is the application I use the most. I also like Procreate, but tonight's tutorial will be on Fresco. So if you're interested in that, stick around. So have you watched Death and Robots on Netflix? I'm addicted to that show. Yes. If you like Death and Robots, there are so many awesome adult animations. My one critique of Death and Robots is American adult animation tends to try to go too hard on the violence and the sexual aspect of it, whereas like they haven't been able to really find their place with the nuance that anime has really carved out. So I love Death and Robots. I love the visuals. I've seen a lot of those stories kind of play out through the heavy metal animated pieces, the heavy metal movies, and a couple of Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Animation Festival have a lot of stories in a similar vein. So check out some of those. No, the 90s cartoons. So I'm a military brat, and I grew up in Germany where we didn't have TV channels. We had the one U.S. funded sort of army-based channel, and it was in English, but it didn't have commercials, and of course, because it was only one channel, what you saw was very limited. And I don't know how they decided what they broadcast, but it was always really terrible. So when we got back to the U.S., I was obsessed with television. I would consume it day and night. And Saturday mornings, it was a marathon that always ended with the Smurfs. But lots of animation from the 80s and the 90s, 70s consumed. When it comes to anime, we ordered Akira and Fist of the North Star out of the back of Heavy Metal magazine because that was the only place you could find it at the time. So I'm from a place that's interesting. Yeah, no, you stick around, you learn something. I mean, it's hard to get outside the box here. Very foreign concept to me, but I want to learn. Yeah, I will do what I can. There's a lot of the social aspect tied into animation, but I try to keep it pretty even-handed, not too partisan. Essentially, the idea is just to show people the animation that I feel needs to get more attention, and not that it's intentionally neglected, but that these aren't big projects. These aren't mainstream projects. These aren't the things that are hitting Marvel. These aren't the things that are come to via DC. They are independent artists who have very niche voices, and those voices I'm hoping to give a little bit of voice to and some exposure. So alright, so I think we are streaming everywhere else. We see if we get any attention. Alright, so if you're watching on TikTok, you're probably not going to be able to see the things that I'm talking about on the live stream. So if you want to check out what I'm talking about and the things that I'm referring to as I speak, as I'm looking at the other camera. You may want to flip over to YouTube, search for Turtle Dust or Hippie Bro. You can go to Twitch. I believe we are Turtle Dust Media or Turtle Dust Tunes on Twitch. If you are a Behance user, you can find us there. If you go to, I believe, the link tree in my bio on TikTok, I believe you can access that there as well. So, alright. Gonna double check. Yep, so there's a link tree on my TikTok profile. You go there and you can find all my other socials. Raymond 93. I don't think I'm going to pull anybody in this evening. So, all right. So let's talk Black Animation News. So what I've realized is that I've got to have certain pieces of the broadcast scripted in order to make sure I convey the information, say things accurately. So it might seem like I'm reading. I might even be reading a little bit, but my goal here is to you know, since this is beta episode 2, figure out how we're going to really convey what we're doing. All right, hold on. Still figuring all this stuff out. Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, start. Hello everybody and welcome to Black Animation Matters. This is my short impromptu, try this again. Hello everybody and welcome to Black Animation Matters, where I talk about projects that see, it's not as easy as it looks. Hello everybody and welcome to Black Animation News, where we're going to talk about black animation. Animation has been, oh god, and I've realized that you can't make these things out, so, alright, one more time. I totally got to script it. Hello everybody and welcome to Black Animation Matters, where we're going to be talking about the project Pretty. Pretty is a animated independent animation that was funded on Kickstarter at $152,000. So the general concept of Pretty is that on a scorching summer day at a community pool, a black teen learns to step out of his comfort zone and with the help of a charming neighborhood boy overcomes his fears of the deep end. So this story is set in Georgia. The characters are Jay, and he is afraid to jump into the pool with everybody. It seems like it's a mix of like social anxiety as well as actually fear of drowning. But his brother, who is a little bit more outgoing and almost the opposite, kind of ribs him about it. But as it said, a neighborhood boy who is also at the pool, shows up to sort of help soothe that social anxiety and convince him to come into the pool. The thing about this animation that really attracted me to it is that it is not dealing with the typical, very, I guess, hip-hop driven aesthetic that one associates with black animation. I love that it's breaking out of the box and that it's dealing with a population, specifically here, LGBTQ characters in animation, which is something you don't typically see. So as we find in the world of animation, it tends to stick into these very safe places, but with these small independent films, they're no longer restricted by small by the thinking of the production companies and this drive to make sure that they come out with a product that hits a mass market. You can hit these niche groups and really engage. And so they have on their Twitter, which is you can follow their Twitter feed at Pretty on Pretty. That's Pritty, not NOT. Pretty, Pretty. And check out their animation, follow them on Twitter. I imagine that this is just the first project of many, and it's gonna go places that animation hasn't been so far. This is the powerful part about diversifying the community of animation, and for me, seeing more black faces was powerful in animation, and for those children who are struggling with their identity, this type of animation is truly going to be engaging. So check out Pretty. Their Kickstarter's been funded. They have their phases of where they are, and you can get more information on the Kickstarter page as well, but follow them on Twitter and enjoy. I'm looking forward to seeing what they ultimately come up with. Zero. Yeah, I'm wondering if this should be done in combination with TikTok. Maybe TikTok is just a distraction. Yeah. All right, so let's fire up the iPad here. That's it. I got 0 followers, 0 people on. Just zero. I'm not worried about it though. It's kind of ego bruising, but you know what you gonna do. So, from a distance update, character design. So the cool part about Photoshop on the iPad is that when you pull it in, it clouds it. So I should be able to jump over now to Fresco and pull it out from my cloud files. Maybe not. All right. So we're in Photoshop and we are going to save this to the cloud. Caught in a loop here. PSD. Yeah, it's just so King Sykes, are you interested in jumping in on voice chat, or are you watching on YouTube? If you're watching on YouTube, let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. All right. Okay. There it is. Boom. Okay, so this file is not that big, but I guess, oh, file dimensions are too large. Alright. How do we reduce it? Photoshop, back to Photoshop. Let's see. Oh, I've never even scaled an image in Photoshop here. Doop. Any way to resize an image? Let's go to the desktop. When all else fails, go to the desktop. I was working on this Rogue picture, so X-Men 97 is coming back. I didn't watch that series too much. You are on YouTube. Excellent. X-Men 97 is coming back. Super stoked. I've always liked X-Men. They have always been my favorite Marvel comic. It's actually the comic that got me started drawing. And so I did this photo of Rogue, and I will leave that there to distract all of you while I do a little bit of work on my desktop, getting this file ready for resize to work. It's interesting. There's dimension constraints when it comes to file size. So the file that I just tried to open up in Adobe Fresco was 8,000 by 8,000. That's because it's an export from a book project, which needs to be at high resolution, so it prints beautifully. So I can't really illustrate it that size, but because I work in vector, I can blow it up for the book. So we're just gonna find that image here in our cloud. Let me share this, what I'm working on then. Let's see if we can add a stream here so you can see what I'm doing in Photoshop. Just put this here and then switch on display capture. And drop that. Put Discord. Alright. So click. Let's hope Photoshop can open it up. Alright, so this is what I'm going to be working on. This is a vignette of all the characters who are in the series so far. You got Dad, Mom, Ace, Kessa, Audra, and Milo. And tonight I'm going to choose one any preferences, and I'm gonna block in some color and some light and shadow. I like to go sketch, refine drawing, light and shadow determination. Then I go back and I do inks, and then potentially color. I very rarely make it to color, but yeah, I need to start refining my color. So let's go ahead and shrink this image. So image size, let's see what size we are at currently. Yeah, we're like 10,000 by 54,000. So if we made the height, what's 2 times 1920 1080? Let's do 2 times 1920. Calculator. Two times 9920 equals. Let's make it only 3840 tall. Let's see, 3840. Let's bring this down to like 6. Oop. Size. Ooh, 600 DPI. Maybe if we went to 300. Yeah. 3. Let's make this 6 again. Okay. Yeah, it's rocking at print resolution. We don't want to do that. So let's try that. Save. Close that. Give it a second to sync. Still pretty big. Boom. Alright. So, because I am like to flatten things, we're going to have to... So, today we're working in Fresco, and we are going to be blocking in the light and shadow of our various scenes in this 6-panel vignette. What I'm doing first is I am moving the base layer above the draw layer because I'm going to put on a multiply because I didn't leave transparency on these files. I did, but when I compiled them into this single vignette, because I thought it would be easier to work, I flattened the image. So if anything that's white in multiply will tend to become transparent, so we can work as though this is only line art because of that multiplication layer. So to turn on multiply, we're going to go up here to the layer settings. We're going to select normal here, go down to multiply and click that. And so now, close that. If I draw on the layer beneath, it should, oh, did I put multiply on the wrong layer? Yes, I did. So normal, go back there, let's clear this layer, select the correct layer, select multiply, close that, and I like to lock that layer just to make sure that I don't accidentally draw on it because it is my base layer. Alright, so now if I draw on the layer, it should come through. So the first thing I do is often I like to give myself, I don't like to start with white. I like to fill with a light gray. Alright, that way we're not starting with a neutral color, we're not starting with a background that's neutral, we're starting with something that's already got a little bit of tone to it. So that if we leave blank spaces, it's not a big old glaring blob of white. Some people like to start with a color on that base layer. I choose gray because it's neutral, and that's all I'm really doing for this go. It's like we're going to determine where the light's coming from. And in this case, he's looking at these screens here, right? So it's more than likely going to be light coming from the front of him. But we could also have light coming from the side that might be more interesting. And that's what we're trying to figure out. Where's the interesting light bit? You see I've got this sphere around him, so I imagine that we are working with kind of a vignette like this. So we're going to switch over to our lasso tool. The lasso tool comes in freeform lasso, paintbrush lasso, square, and elliptical lasso. I like to use the freeform because the cool part about the lasso tool in Fresco is that not only is it freeform, that I can make irregular shapes, but I can also make polygonal shapes. Alright, so I drew that circle there, and then I can come back and I could, it also, unlike Photoshop, in order to make additional selection, it would have required me to hold shift, and I believe there's a setting where you can require a modifier key in order to activate the selection, but we're going to figure this out. That screen's probably got light, so let's make that dark as well. Alright, so on this layer we're gonna, oh, nope, that's not the selection I wanted, so deselect. So once you've started the selection, down here at the bottom of your screen, what you're going to see is the deselect or the select options. Shift this up just a bit. Alright, and so I can erase everything inside of that selection area. I can transform everything inside that selection area. I can mask that selection area, or I can deselect it. There are also additional options here, transform selection, invert selection, and you can change the selection type. This is more of like what Procreate does, the sort of like dashed lines to show the selection area. It's difficult for me to see that, so I really prefer to use what I know from Photoshop, so forgive me for being stuck in my ways. But let's go back to the selection tool. Two-finger tap gives me undo. You can't see that, but whenever I need to undo anything in Fresco, I just tap two fingers on the iPad. So I want actually the outer area, and I never am worried about the accuracy of these sort of value drawings, because they are more than likely not going to yeah. And so let me switch this back to marching ants. So let's just make everything there behind him dark. Although those screens are probably going to be a bit different. Not quite as dark as that. So typically I'm just drawing, kind of working with let's see what that gives us. Should be just an outline around him. When you fill, it gives you the option to fill as a vector or as pixel. When I'm roughing it in, I usually start with pixel, and then after I'm confident I like what I see, then I move over to vector. So let's do that. I think what we want to do though is we want to, all these screens should be should not have shadow on them. Erase. Alright, so shadow 1, I might go a little bit lighter. Yep. Deselect. So if light is coming from these screens, we're going to have shadow here. This here is probably going to be completely dark. Oh, and that wasn't even a selection, that was a drawing line, so let's undo that. Make sure we're on the lasso tool. Yeah, I'm usually pretty sloppy when I draw in the beginning, so, and you can't really see my hand movements, but not too concerned with where we are in terms of accuracy. If you think about the light here, and then of course we have our magic button again. So I'm going to double click that, and by double clicking that, now I can deselect. Whoop. Oh. Right, yeah, double. We're removing the selection, not adding to the selection. Remove. Subtract. Yeah, there we go. So. hiding scheme. Got light coming kind of from all around him. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I might need to simplify this. Figured out. Yeah. So that's another reason why I don't commit to the vector at this point. We're still figuring it out. Just dropping in the tones. Can add a new layer, and this is going to be some base coloring. He is a black man, so we need to add skin tone. That might help with some determination on how we light this thing. Hey, what's up? San Chapo. I've been watching your animation. Those are pretty awesome. So, welcome. Sunglasses guy. I can't see. Chase Perrot. Oh, is that French? Perrot? Chasse Perrot? I don't know. Sorry. I'm drawing. You can see the streams. TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, LinkedIn. All those places you can see what I'm actually doing. Because here it's just my head. So I don't know if that's the wisest. I'm gonna have to figure this thing out in terms of what I show. Let's see. Let's flip the camera. Good, man. Are you still there? It's showing 0 as the amount of people watching. But yeah, my day's been good. I just, you know, haven't eaten anything all day. Trying to focus on drawing. But other than that, the day's been quite nice. I notice you do a really good job at chatting with folks during your live streams. I need to get better at that. Yeah. Tonight is the drawathon. Just gonna take it easy, make some drawings. I appreciate the likes. They are building. Got questions, drop them in. I think I need to be I would say advice to anyone who's planning on becoming a streamer: eat. But you know, I can't get too hung up on what I expected this to be in terms of and sometimes I overcomplicate things, right? Like I got 2 different colors going on here, different layers, so I'm just going to merge this down, simplify it. And that way I can eyedropper the gray I need to fill this in, fill that in, and not get too hung up. And I think I'm gonna drop that down a little bit too, maybe a little too dark. Grab that color and then go dark. What's up, Charles? Shouldn't you be? Are you on the East Coast? Because if you are up late, bruh. Oh my gosh, I got a cat scratching to go outside. Right back. Yeah, if you're watching from the East Coast, what time is it there? 1300 hours? Or 13 hours? Well, it would be 0. Well, 1 a.m.? Something like that. These are going to be data panels. So Dad is a genius scientist. And he's not actually the leader of this little space excursion. He's actually second in command as chief science officer of the ship for which the Jones family finds themselves. Responsibilities of the chief science officer is to keep everybody from not dying of some alien foreign infection, invasion, ship malfunction. Pretty serious responsibility. Point did I fill in the entire rest of the Thank you, Juicy Fruit. Just making some art at midnight. You can see how you can get sucked into it and forget that there's people out there watching, maybe. But, you know, over time, figure this out. I'm going to probably need a partner of some kind. Continue the banter when I am sucked into the work. That would be super healthy. Excuse me, long day. I'm glad I'm getting some drawing in though. once in a while I gotta look up to see if anybody's there. Tonight is not the night. But, you know what's sweet? Nobody watching. Can't see us learning. Yeah, you know. And, you know, just like everything else, when I first started Turtle Dust Tunes on Instagram, started with 0 just to see if I could build something up. And now we're at about 360, 370, 360 followers on Instagram. And that was all built in a year. And social media isn't like it used to be. It used to be a little bit easier, I think, to sort of gain following before the algorithms started deciding who was to be highlighted and who was to be forgotten. But I don't know. That might all just be in my head. You know, if you're an artist who has kids and you are up late at night drawing, this is a stream for you. I have perpetually been what I would like to call a disciple of the night, because with my day job and my family obligations. This is about the only time I can get around to drawing, and I refuse. I refuse to not draw. Refuse. Absolutely refuse. Come hell or high water, something's getting drawn. Even if it's not good. Even if it's not A caliber work. I'm drawing it. Getting her done. One painful step at a time. So. But you know what? I think that's all I've got in me for this evening. I thank all of you. I am learning a crap ton, not only about my capabilities, but about what folks are looking for in a live stream, where my art is going, what my focus is. I know that I want to be doing this full time in the next 2 to 3 years, and I want my student loans to be expunged in some way, and if those were, that would set me free. Biden, forgive my student loans and I'm good, bro. I'm good. You know, if I voted for Biden and the Democrats because I wanted my loans forgiven. I have a lot of education debt and I need to get rid of it. So if you're an artist with a lot of education debt, or father artist who works late at night, and you want some place to come and hear other father artists rant about what they do, or you potentially build an alliance so that we as father artists can get together and get some work done. You know what I'm saying? So but that's about as much juice as this no solid food eating, fasting, pre-Thanksgiving father artist can do for this evening. It's been real. I'm gonna script the shoots the crap out of these things from here on out. I know that. So this is all beta, right? Nobody's really watching. Maybe people are watching in the posts, but come January 2022, that's when we're really going to start doing it. And the only way to do it is to set a habit of doing it. And people probably won't be paying attention till January because we're going into the holidays and people are doing those things. They're not sitting down and watching 2.5 hour live streams from obscure artists, right? So, but the project is coming. I'm going to try and wrangle in other artists who can help me get my work done and refined and pay to do it. Oof. So we'll be rested for future streams, and thank you for the 166 likes, TikTok folks. Thank you for just being out there, maybe scrolling by and looking away, who knows, but thank you. All right, universe, thank you. And good night. This has been the Turtle Dust Media midnight, late night art stream. We're going to bed because it's late and no one is listening. But thank you for not listening because you wouldn't have heard much. Anyway, alrighty. I think we're getting the hang of this thing.